Hello everybody! So here is Lindsay again, and I'm here to talk to you about INFP Anna Paquin versus INFJ and Amanda Seyfried. How is it gonna work? This is the first time that I make a celebrities comparison video. So what I'm gonna do is give you an overview of how the two celebrities behave in interviews, and what makes Amanda Seyfried an INFJ, and what makes Anna Paquin an INFP instead. The first thing that, before I start, in the description below, I will put a link to two interviews, one with Amanda Seyfried and one with Anna Paquin. So, let's start, and the first thing to say about these two girls is that the first impression that you get when they enter the room, or when they enter the interview, when the interview gets started, is very similar. The difference, they both have this kind of mystic aura around them, or anyway, intuitives tend to have this kind of mystic aura revolving around them, whereas sensors tend to have more of a presence, more of an animal kind of aura. So spiritual on one side and physical on the other side. So this is the thing that they have in common. The first impression is of a very similar vibe. But when we look more carefully, we immediately see that Amanda Seyfried is a little bit more aloof, a little bit less there. She's not there in the moment. Whereas Anna Paquin, on the other hand, she is there. You can perceive Amanda Paquin's presence, and you can see that she's in the moment. That's the difference between INFP and INFJ dominant function. Intuition, the intuition of time in Amanda Seyfried, INFJ, makes her look aloof because she is not living the moment. She's projected in the past and in the future. Whereas Anna Paquin, with introverted feeling, is focused on how she's feeling in the moment, and how what she's living internally in the moment. And therefore, despite them having this initial similar vibe, they are very different in this sense. Anna Paquin is a rational, whereas Amanda Seyfried is an irrational in reigning dichotomies. No, not in reigning dichotomies, in dichotomies, in socionics dichotomies, sorry. Anyway, moving on. They are both positivists in reigning dichotomies, that's what I wanted to say, and therefore they both tend to be to give off this kind of positive aura. Another point that they have in common, this is not a valid function, but I think it's very important to spot these two types, is that they're both kind of insecure in some way. What is the difference? The difference is that Amanda Seyfried is right out insecure. She calls herself boring, and she is really afraid to give a negative impression in the external world. And this is an extrovert feeling focus with extrovert sensing valued. Extrovert sensing is the function of self-assuredness. One characteristic of extrovert sensing dominant types is that they believe they're better than anybody else at everything. So this is one thing to notice about these types. So INFJ is inferior extrovert sensing, and Amanda Seyfried claims to be very insecure, whereas Anna Paquin doesn't talk about being insecure, and she actually displays a rejection for self-assuredness and in some way self-importance and self-worth. We see it in particular, there is a passage in one interview with her in which the interviewer asks her what she thinks and how she feels about her own movie as a child, The Piano. I think that's the movie title. And the answer Anna provides is that she never watched the movie because the idea makes her uncomfortable. Plus, she would feel really uncomfortable going to Blockbuster and booking one of her own movies. Now, this said from a celebrity with the fame that Anna Paquin reached, this sounds a little bit like a humble brag. And that's a characteristic, actually, of being an INFP. INFPs are extrovert sensing vulnerable. Power and political influence are traits of extroverted sensing. So anything extrovert sensing related for Anna Paquin lacks importance. She doesn't understand the importance of that function. And we see it in particular in this answer that she provides in the interview to the interviewer when she says that she would feel uncomfortable giving herself so much political importance, so to speak. What else? Another thing that we notice is that Amanda Seyfried is a very, very funny, and she's really a kind of goofball, but in a serious kind of way. She's not the kind of goofball that comedians are. She is rather, everything she says in every interview has an interpretation that can be viewed as funny. And whenever she says something serious, she closes it with some sort of joke on herself to make it sound lighter and to make it lighter. That's an INFJ trait with extroverted feeling in the auxiliary position. One of the social roles of INFJs is the good-natured tag-along and the comic relief. So INFJ has this kind of trait. They tend to be goofy in some way. They do have some characteristic that makes them comic relief, even though they tend not to see it. Anna Paquin, instead, when we look at her, we realize that she's really serious. She's serious, she's composed, she's appropriate, and she is polite. Oh my god, we said the P word! Yeah, the issue with the P word, I'm going to call it the P word from now on, is that some theories parallel to MBTI say that politeness is an FE trait. I completely disagree with those theories, and I agree with socionics that politeness is an introvert feeling trait. Oh my god, the P word again! Anyway, Anna Paquin is very appropriate. She doesn't move on the chair much, and she displays this positive vibe towards the speaker, towards her interlocutor. She has this positive attitude towards the interlocutor, basically because she likes the girls, or anyway the guys, anyway the interviewers in the interviews I've seen, and that's a very introvert feeling trait. Introvert feeling is more based on the internal emotional state of the person. So if the person is positively disposed, they're going to have an attitude. If they are negatively disposed, they're going to display another attitude. INFJs can put on the Sunday smile, as I always called it on myself. Amanda Seyfried can... In some interview, there was an interview in particular with Craig Ferguson in 2015 where she's talking about letters to Juliet, and she's wearing her normal, regular Amanda Seyfried smile, but at some point it turns out in the interview that she's actually not feeling that way, and she's actually instead feeling insecure. Anna Paquin would never leave anything like that because with ignoring extrovert feeling, INFPs show exactly the emotion that they are feeling. They do not control their inner feeling in that sense. They are exactly what you see. Whereas INFJs, they feel exactly what you see. Instead, INFJs can put on the Sunday smile and show you a smile to predispose you positively towards them, or to change the atmosphere in positive, even if they are deeply depressed. So that's another split, and it shows very well in the attitudes of Anna Paquin in particular, and interior feeling dominant. How does exterior intuition show in Anna Paquin? We see it in the fact that when she's faced with questions related to the meaning behind her movies, she skips the meaning, and she talks about the possibilities revolving around the movie. So I don't remember any example in particular, and I'm sorry about that, but it has to do with me being an extrovert intuition ignoring. So I cannot focus on anything in particular, but if you look into it, there are interviews on the web, on YouTube, in which she's been asked about the meaning of her movies. She kind of makes a blank face and starts talking about something else. So that else is exterior intuition. And that's how we use the creative function to cover the demonstrative function and to dismiss the demonstrative function. In INFPs, the demonstrative function is interior intuition. So they are really against wishful thinking. They are against spirituality in some form. Some of them can be spiritual, and if it is about the religion they choose, then they can be conservative about it. But in general, they are not into religion, and they do not appreciate talking about meaning, religion, or anything revolving around spirituality. Whereas INFJs instead have that soft spot for spirituality of any sort, and a normal life path for an INFJ is trying to figure out what religion best suits them, believing in each and every one they go through. Anyway, back to Anna Paquin and Amanda Seyfried. Amanda Seyfried displays in some characteristics, in some videos, in some interviews, she displays very strong exterior sensing, seeking characteristics. She's strongly attracted to people who have a strong self-assuredness and do not vacillate in any possible way. That's exterior sensing, seeking. Whereas Anna Paquin is exterior sensing inferior in INFJs. Whereas Anna Paquin instead shows exterior thinking inferior, so exterior thinking seeking, in that every time she's faced with data about the movies, like statistics, the facts about how the public answered critics from important authority critics. There are authority for me, but for a TV user, they are authorities. She grows attracted, and the admiration towards these people is, and these concepts is blatantly to be viewed on her face. There's a movie. There's one interview in which she's talking about a movie in particular, and the interviewer starts reading statistics about the movie. They're talking about her rogue character, and the interviewer starts reading statistics about the comics, the Marvel comics, the X-Men, and the response that the comics got. And when she starts reading this statistics and data, Anna Paquin grows more and more attracted and more interested in the conversation, making little interludes to make the person go on and to try to push her to continue. She really shows a strong attraction towards the concept. It's kind of cute to see, actually. even though they're my quasi-identicals and I don't really understand them completely. It's really cute to see someone so interested in something. And that's a strategy that INFPs use to push others to make them happy in some way. The interviewer in that interview was like completely surprised, and she didn't know what to do because she had to continue with the interview. But Anna was displaying such a strong appreciation that it was really difficult to withstand her pressure. It's an emotional pressure that introverted feeling makes. ESFPs are actually the type that exerts the strongest emotional pressure in this sense. It's kind of manipulative, and that's why ESTPs cannot stand it. Yeah, it has. I can understand the fascinating side of this thing, to be honest. INFJs, Amanda Seyfried, instead, are introvert feeling demonstrative, and we see it in Amanda Seyfried in that she is not very appropriate in her vocabulary. She speaks to anyone and anybody as if they were on the same level. She doesn't treat people more politely because she's in a situation, or less politely because of, I don't know. She doesn't perceive the concept of authority, and that's actually thinking vulnerable. And it shows a lot in her words choice, because she's respectful of the person, but not in the choice of the vocabulary. She also makes some jokes that breathe introvert feeling, demonstrative here and there, like mocking personal reactions, or making fun of personal reactions, or teasing personal reactions. The best example I have of introvert feeling demonstrative is actually in Alfred Molina. That once said, I now understand what the strong bond between grandparents and grandchildren, what the strong bond between grandparents and grandchildren is based on. It's because they have a common enemy. That's introverted feeling demonstrative. It's devaluing and diminishing the importance of personal relationships. That's basically introverted feeling demonstrative, if you want to look for it in Amanda Seyfried. TI in Amanda Seyfried is not very easy to see, as much as it's not easy to see introvert sensing in Anna Paquin, where actually Amanda Paquin talks about doing sports and going out running. Amanda Seyfried runs with the dog, or goes on the bike with the dog, and she's kind of upset with the dog because it's not going fast enough to pull her. That's one difference between the two. And introvert thinking in Amanda Seyfried shows in that she tries to really understand everything she's told. She's focused on understanding, whereas Anna Paquin is focused on feeling. So focus on feeling and possibilities on one side, focus on understanding and meaning on the other side, with this strong emotional expression and a lot of fun. And that's Anna Paquin INFP versus Amanda Seyfried INFJ. I hope it helped you in some way, and you will find a link to one of the interviews of these two celebrities in the description below. I will see you soon. Bye.